Hey everybody, this is the fourth here, and in this video I will be introducing you to a couple types of level meters and explaining how they work. Level meters are monitoring tools that provide you with a visual representation of the levels or volume of your audio signal. In this tutorial I will be introducing you to a couple types of level meters, Peak and Rms. At the most basic level, the common layout or display of each of these meters is the same. So here's an example of that layout with some labels. This layout consists of two adjacent vertical bars that represent the left and right channel of the audio signal. To one or both sides of these bars, you'll find a vertical scale of decibel values. When you play a sound that is routed through the meter, these bars will display a colorful reading of your audio levels, which you can measure with the scale at the sides. This reading is dynamic and will fluctuate with your audio at each moment. Because audio has the potential to fluctuate quite a bit, most meters display a peak hold, which will show up as a line above or at the top of the level reading, and hold at the highest level over a set duration of time. This can allow you to get a better idea of where your levels are at, particularly your highest peaks when using a peak meter. The colors of the level reading correlate to the decibel values: green for lower values, yellow for higher values, and red when your levels are so high that they are either exceeding the threshold of 0 decibels or are almost exceeding it. You should be aware that the colors can relate to different values on different meters, and in some cases could be represented as different colors. So it's best to pay attention to the actual decibel values. So I have a few different peak and Rms meters over here on the right hand side of my screen. And you can see that in the mixer, each track has its own small peak meter. So I'm going to play a section of a track to just display how these meters work. You can see that all these meters are displaying similar information, but the colors and the scales work a little bit differently for each. So how exactly do these meters work, and what's the difference between peak and Rms? Well, if we look at our waveform here of the song, we can see our amplitude values of the waveform. Peak meters will show you the actual instantaneous level of your audio, and as such are particularly useful for monitoring your peaks, or the highest points of your audio signal, as well as quick changes of the audio level. And as I said before, your mixer probably has a peak meter on each track. So if you look at this waveform, and listen to the sound and watch the peak meter right here, you will see that the displayed values kind of follow those amplitude values in this waveform, and jump up with each hit of the kick drum, and then decrease until the next hit. Rms meters will show you a certain kind of average of your peak amplitude values, and this average is the root mean square. This is intended to provide you with a bit more of an accurate representation of the loudness of your audio, or how we perceive the loudness of that audio. So you can see when I play the same waveform, if you look at the Rms meter, it's going to read quite a bit lower than the peak, and it's not going to jump up as much as quickly on each kick as the peak meter does. And if you look over here, I have this meter provides both peak and Rms values. The peaking values are displayed on the outside and the Rms are on the inside. So if you watch this meter, you'll see the peak amplitude moving a lot more than the Rms. It is important to be aware that not all RMS meters will display the same level readings for the same input. So you can see that for this sustained sine wave, this RMS meter reads at about -8 decibels, and this one reads at about -11 decibels. And that's simply caused by a difference in their programming. So how should you utilize these meters in your production? These meters can be helpful tools for mixing, but it's important not to become distracted by them or try to use them to mix in a formulaic manner. Your ears will always be the best tool for mixing, and any kind of meters should really only act as aids. How you personally will utilize these meters in your production is something you will develop over time. Certain sections of this tutorial will give you ideas that you may adapt into your own production process.